How is it going today, my lazies? Today's segment is kind of special. This is which villages should have had Kage. But before I start, this isn't a segment explaining which villages should replace the great nations. It's just me explaining which ones had strong enough leaders that could have been Kage at some point in the series. And with that being said, first up on the list, we have the hidden sound, which shouldn't come as a surprise. The name of this leader would be the Otokage. The known Otokage so far are Orochimaru and Kabuto. Should Kabuto take over for Orochimaru, since he'll be a war criminal in the Boruto era. Don't think I need to explain the power of the known Otokage, but here's some reasons why the hidden sound should be considered for Kage status. For one, the sound took out the Kaze Kage with only their second strongest member, dismantled two of the great nations and their treaty. They were a threat to the Akatsuki themselves, have the most intel in every nation, and forbidden jutsu. They are leaders in the underground black market. They control one of the main sources of food for the entire world, which is rice. They produce and create the strongest ninja, and the first leader has proven to be as strong as Hiruzen and much more powerful than Tsunade and Jiraiya combined, as seen with their three-way deadlock. Jiraiya and Orochimaru were both suppressed, while Tsunade proved to be weaker than Kabuto, who is slightly weaker than Kakashi, until she unleashed her 100 healings, which still didn't really give her a win, as Orochimaru tanked all of her strongest flurry of punches. Then we have Kabuto, who is controlling the entire war, showcasing feats on par with Obito and Naruto before the Six Paths boost. He was literally taking on the entire world, with no one able to truly beat him. They needed Deus Ex Machina to actually put this man down, showcasing he was leagues above the 5 Kage and even on par with the Hokage present from the Reaper unsealing. I think I've more than made a case for this village. The next village on the list has fallen from grace, but at the time they had leaders, they definitely should have been Kage. And that's the Hidden Rain. Hanzo was deemed the strongest of his generation and the world before Hiruzen took his title. Him not being a Kage was borderline criminal, as he had to protect the region of the world that everyone dumped their wars into, and he was still able to keep the village stable. Succeeding him was Pain, and I doubt I need to explain why he should have been a Kage, other than the whole global terrorism thing. The fact that Tendo Pain was strong enough to beat the guy I just hyped up as the strongest of his era, and he's not even the main body, shows just how powerful the leader of this village was at the time. The only downfall of him being a Kage is the secrecy. No one in his own village knew who he was or what he looked like, and for several years or many decades, the outside world didn't even know Hanzo was dead. Pain was strong enough to kill Jiraiya, destroying an entire village with one move, tame Jinchuriki, and the list goes on for just how powerful this leader is. Pain ran the original Akatsuki, meaning he had political ties and immunity to every village but the Hidden Cloud. The fact that even through isolation, the village still survived and strived speaks wonders about how prosperous this village would have been if they had Kage status. Already unified with 4 of the great nations through the original Akatsuki, the political game would have been fierce. And Ame Kage would have fixed the high gaining problem in the village. Due to isolation, the ninja in the village couldn't advance to higher ranks as there were no missions for them to partake in other than maintaining the reign's isolation. Yet, they were still economically more stable than the hidden sand as the Akatsuki raked in a ton of money. To scale down a bit, let's look at another isolationist nation that produced some interesting results. The hidden waterfall with a Kage would make this village flourish much more than it already did. This village produced the most Jonin percentage-wise, had the third most powerful tailed beast, were one of the main threats to the leaf, produced the most bounty hunters, and were almost as economically stable as the hidden sand. I know I keep mentioning the sand as the weakest economically, but I should mention the mist as well, as these two great nations were definitely the weakest in this regard for two different reasons. But that's another story entirely. The fact that the only rank within the hidden waterfall that their ninja were allowed to carry was Jonin, and they were powerful enough to tame the seven-tailed Jinchuriki truly speaks volumes about what their leaders should be capable of. Since we only see the leaders and fillers, it's hard to really pinpoint their true power. A special village from the fillers that actually inspired this video was the Hidden Star Village. This land actually wanted to prove they could sustain a Kage, as they unofficially deemed their leader as the Hoshikage. Power-wise, at least during the time of the filler when the meteorite is still active, this village truly could rival the great nations, however slightly. Their power was great, but the number of people that could utilize the star power without dying was much too minimal. If they had actually allied themselves with the great nations to figure out how to safely utilize the meteorite for more than just power, this village truly could have prospered like no other. With the power of the meteorite, they could have created an energy system that puts them economically more stable than the hidden sand. Out of the shinobi they had, the village actually produced a high-level forbidden jutsu along with high-level warriors that rivaled Chunin and Jonin. Their beginning level ninja were even strong enough to combat QB Essence Naruto. The irony is that the village was about to have their leader recognized as a Kage until the mysterious illness kicked in from the meteorite. This is more of a maybe compared to the others I've mentioned so far. Another maybe on the list is the Land of Snow. Considering the movie, there were several high-level ninja in the land, and they had a machine that could control weather, which would have been highly beneficial economically. In close league with this land was the Hidden Frost, as they're shown in the war aiding the allied shinobi forces. The leader, or Yukikage as they would be called, would be on the level of Kakashi, as the main enemies were actually on his level, while the biggest bad was above his level. The fact that the land had a monarchy with a princess shows how prosperous the land truly was. Plus, they had highly advanced technology to help with trading issues. This land could actually become more prosperous than the lowest economic great nations and produce stronger ninja in the process, but as it stands today, just like the Hidden Star, it's less of a possibility that this land would be able to produce a Kage. To conclude my thoughts, a Yukikage and Hoshikage would be less likely to produce as of now, considering we don't get any information about how these lands developed after Shippuden or even the OG series, while a Takekage would be a bit more likely considering the little development we see of the Hidden Waterfall, and an Amekage or Otokage would have been more likely given which era they started developing in. These are just my speculations considering my knowledge on the series. Leave a comment explaining any other villages that could have made this list and why, whether it be a land that's in the fillers, novels, or even mentioned in the series. I'd love to see your thoughts. As always, thank you for your time. Leave a like and share this with anyone that loves Naruto content. Ring that notification bell so that you don't miss any upcoming content. And remember to stay lazy.